Welcome back to the Linux Tube. Glad to have you here. If you wouldn't mind going ahead and comment, liking, and subscribing below. If you have been around the channel for a while and are wanting to support us in our adventure here, if you'll go ahead and join the channel, it only costs $1.99. That's less than a cup of joe. And if you boil it down, it only is about 7 cents a day. And for 30 days of content, that's pretty amazing. All right, now we'll go ahead and move on and get on to the video. Let's run the intro. Hey guys, you see that now I'm on the desktop. Today we're going to be talking about how you actually put Linux on your computer. It's not too hard, it's not too difficult finding the right distribution for you. We've already mentioned in our last video. If you want to go ahead and make this easy, go ahead and follow along. To begin with, you got to understand you need to know which distribution you want. Today we're just going to go ahead and use Ubuntu, make this easy. I'm going to go to my browser. I'm going to go to a new tab. You can use Google, DuckDuckGo, Quant, whatever search engine you'd like to use. And you'll go ahead and go in, just type in for your Linux distribution, and type in that distribution plus ISO. It'll pop up with the top 2 or 3. You'll go ahead and just go in, hit download on Ubuntu desktop right here. You'll go to scroll down. Now is the time you have to figure out, do you want to use something called a long-term support release, or do you want to use something that is bleeding edge or closer to the bleeding edge here? So the long-term support release, you won't get as many new features, but you'll have a very stable system. In the situation of the Ubuntu 23.10 has a few newer features under the hood, but you're also not going to be supported as long as they go into 9-month cycles. So for us today, I'm going to do what I want and go ahead and download the 23.10 release. You will see here in just a second, it will pop up with another page letting us know we're downloading it. So it should pop up here in a second up here, and we will see that it's downloading. It's just like on Chrome or Firefox or any other browser, it'll pop up with a download window. This is going to take me a few minutes, it looks like, for some reason, even though I have amazing internet. We will see. Now that the Ubuntu ISO is now almost done being finished downloading, we will see right here just a second, and then it'll go ahead and go to my downloads folder. All right, now that it has completely finished, we will go ahead and go get another tool called Rufus. The website is rufus.ie. If you go in, you can go Google it, and then you'll see here the website. This tool makes it where you can put it on a thumb drive. You will need a drive, a little thumb drive. This website is actually made to make it where you can download a tool to put your ISO on a thumb drive of some sort. If you look here, and what we will go ahead and do is go down to the download section, and you will click the version you want. You can either install it on your system or use a portable version, which is just an executable that will run. I recommend you just use the portable version since we are about to install Ubuntu on our system anyways. So we'll go ahead and hit that. We'll let it download. Mine is finished downloading. You can either click it from here to launch it, or you can go to your file manager, go up to downloads, and then double click the Rufus. It will go ahead and go open, and it will show you a elevation prompt. You will hit yes and give it administrator privileges, because we're going to need that so it can see the thumb drive. So if you go ahead and look here, it's going to ask us if we want to let it update whenever it opens. That's fine. In this instance, hit yes. And then what we'll do is we will plug in a thumb drive, which I have the smaller one right here, into our computer. And you will see here in just a second, it will pop up saying that it's plugged in. Or sometimes it will. And you'll see right here, we have my 128 gigabyte no label thumb drive. That's what it is for me. You will need something at least 8 gigabytes because they are pretty large to sometimes, like Ubuntu is 4.8 gig. and typically you can only get them in 4 and 8 gig or larger, so you'll need at least 8 gigabytes. Next, you'll go ahead and hit disk or ISO image. Make sure you have this selected. You'll hit select. We'll go down and find our ISO image. It'll either pop you into the directory or you can go to downloads. So on the left side, hit the ISO image that we want, like Ubuntu 23.10. Or if, let's say, you wanted the LTS version, like I mentioned earlier, you would just select that ISO image. Next, go ahead and change this to GPT because MBR is actually made for older legacy hardware. So what this will do is it'll make it where you use something called a UEFI, which is a modern version of a BIOS essentially, and that's what you want since most modern computers have it. If you have a really, really old computer, use MBR instead and it'll use a BIOS by default. So what you'll do is you'll go down, you can leave everything else the same and hit start. It'll pop you up with the image you have selected as an ISO hybrid image. It means it can be written either in ISO image mode or DD image mode. Rufus recommend using ISO image mode so that you always have full access to the drive, which I recommend. Leave everything by default and we'll go ahead and hit OK. Yes, it's just warning us it's going to erase the thumb drive, so if you have anything on it, back it up before you hit yes or OK, and then we will wait. You will see here it's clearing everything and now it's partitioning it, making it where we can have our thumb drive with everything on it. And you'll see this bar right here. It'll take a few minutes to go ahead and finish up. It does it pretty quickly overall, at least if you have a faster device. My thumb drive is USB 3.1, or correction, 3.2 on this one. And then, so I recommend you get one with a higher speed like that. And then also note it's whatever disk you have in your system to that as well. That'll impact how fast this goes. So you just got to be patient, let it do its thing, and I'll see you guys back whenever it finishes. Now that it finished going ahead and finalizing, what we'll go ahead and do is hit close out of Rufus right here. And now what you guys will do is you will go ahead and hit your Windows button, hit your power menu, hit restart, and then you will start hitting either F10, F12, delete, or F2 depending on your computer. Some computers have a built-in boot menu, which is either F10 or F12. Some have your F2 or delete, which goes into your BIOS, where you can manually select to move the thumb drive above the disk drive, making where it'll boot from it. What I'm going to do for the sake of this video is show you from a VM because I'm not going to install it on my machine because of a couple of compatibility issues. So let's say you go ahead and go and minimize everything. My apologies if it seems a little bit small right now. I will zoom it in post so you guys can see it. What we will do now is we will go ahead and go in. We will hit our language, in my case English, after it installs or boots into the environment. In my instance, I'm actually using a virtual machine to show you how to do the installation process, but it's super simple, it's not hard. I failed to mention, whenever you pop up in the menu in your F10 or F12 or your boot menu, make sure you select the device, of course, and then in order to get into it, you hit enter. But afterwards, you'll go to this, like I said, and then hit English or your language, hit next, type in which version of Ubuntu you want to try, or which version right now, because you can either try it and play with it if you haven't ever used Linux, which I'm trying to let you know if you have not, go ahead and hit try so you're going to get to understanding it. Go play with it a little bit. The only thing to note is you only get 2 gigabytes of space to play with. That's just how it is if you're going to do the live environment. But if you know you want to use Ubuntu and you're excited and you're ready to go ahead and just hit install Ubuntu, and then you'll hit the next button right here. You'll go ahead and select your language once again, but this is for your keyboard layout. So if you're, let's say, using an older MacBook from 2015 and earlier, go ahead and select the Macintosh setting here. If you're using something that has a custom keyboard schematic, you can configure that later if need be. So you'll go ahead and hit next here. Then you'll go ahead and then choose your internet connection. Here it'll either give you what I have, which is a wired connection, or if you have compatible hardware, it will let you choose your Wi-Fi network. You'll just log in like you would any other operating system. It's very simple. They make it very easy to do. And you'll hit next. And what you'll do now is you can update the Ubuntu desktop installer. This is new to me. I actually haven't seen this before. And then what you'll go ahead and do is let it do its thing, right? And we'll go ahead and restart the installer because, wow, that's actually new. I'm really impressed that they make it where you can update the installer now. Whoa, that's phenomenal. You give it a second to go ahead and hit preparing Ubuntu once again. Let it do its thing, and then I'll try to quickly get through, and I'll just go quickly through this in the video after the fact. So what we'll do now is we will go ahead and resume where we were at, and then we will go ahead and choose our installation. You can either do a default installation, which on the old Medium it used to be called a minimal installation. Basically, you get the bare minimum to make it work. You'll have to install your browser, your other applications that you want. If you want a full installation, it gives you absolutely everything, including a few games if you want to play with them, which I recommend just doing the default and then choosing what you want because it doesn't seem to take as long. Then here you'll see it says install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware. You want to do that if you're on a laptop. It just makes things way easier, or then you're going to have to connect in via Ethernet and manually install things later. If you're wanting to already go ahead and just install your updates, including media codecs, just go ahead and select that now, especially if you're on a laptop, for instance, because it just makes things simple. It makes it easier if you're wanting free software, meaning not in terms of currency, but freedom, but you don't want any of the proprietary stuff. Just don't ignore this portion, but you may be making your situation a little bit more difficult. All right, and now we'll go ahead and see here it says erase disk and install Ubuntu. So with this, we're going to have to go ahead and choose this unless you know what you're doing with manual partitioning. If you know how to do that, you probably aren't the one typically watching this video. So let's go ahead and hit erase disk and install media. Then we'll go ahead and see what they're going to do, which in this case, the name of our device is SDA. So basically that's just a way of saying that's our hard drive, or in this case, a virtual drive that we're going to install it to. So we have the formatting of our partition SDA1 right here being created, and then the partitioning of it into ext4 for the root partition, which is what they're going to do. So we'll go ahead and accept it and hit install. We'll go ahead and select our time zone. In this case, I am in Chicago. That is correct, the time zone at least. Same thing over here. We'll go ahead and hit next. we'll go ahead and put in our login credentials. I'm going to do Sprungles. I'm going to do my super secret password. That's definitely not 1234. And then we'll go ahead and hit next. If you are going to do this, please make sure you use a secure password. You do not want people getting in your system. So next you're going to be able to choose which theme you want. I know for me, because of eye strain, I typically go with the dark theme. This looks way simpler, a lot nicer. It doesn't hurt my eyes as much. And you get to choose your color. I'm going to go with blue because I really like blue. We'll go ahead and do next. Now we're going to let it install. What I'll do here is I will let you see the whole process, but I'm going to go ahead and speed it up after the fact and have it go 10, 20, 30 times as fast. So keep that in mind, but I did want to let you see the full experience. Okay, now that we are done installing, we can just go ahead and hit restart now. And here in a second, you'll see mine's going to exit out and come back into the virtual machine whenever we do this, because it is a virtual machine for me. On you, it will be your actual hardware. What you'll see is you will have your computer completely reboot, or just leave it alone, let it do its thing. It should boot up into Ubuntu. If it has not, what you'll do is you will go back and, or what you'll actually need to do is go back and make sure your boot menu in your BIOS by hitting F2 or delete. Make sure Ubuntu's at the top of that, not your thumb drive. You're okay to unplug your thumb drive now if you want to make this simpler. You'll unplug it. You'll have your disk drive now should have Ubuntu on it. So you'll have that at the top. Save that, reboot, and then it'll boot into Ubuntu like it will show here in just a second. First, we may have to hit enter. We'll see if that's changed. Now that we have got rebooted into Ubuntu, all we need to do now is go ahead and click our icon right here. We'll go ahead and type in our super secret password. And guess what, guys? Here in just a second, you will see that we are booted into Ubuntu. This means you have actually just installed Linux on your machine for the first time. Great job, so proud of you. You'll need to go ahead and go through this setup. You can attach your accounts that you want. I'm going to skip it. You can decide whether you want to give them data to help improve the project. I always do. Might as well, I'm using it for free, so it'll be nice. Let it go ahead and do its thing. Oh, we are having an issue here. And then it'll let you choose your app store stuff if you want to go there. So like this, or you can just hit right here to do the same thing. So if we look here, right, we just have our installation. The first thing, and I'll give you a quick tip, if you're going to use Ubuntu, our package manager, so you'll need to go into terminal, is a little bit slow. So it does not use something called parallel downloads. That means it does not download things at the multiple things at the same time. So go ahead and hit sudo apt install Nala. This tool allows parallel downloads. It makes things download faster, essentially. So I'll explain what this command does real quick so you understand the formatting. Sudo user do is what sudo means. You'll do apt, which is our package manager, the installation of Nala. You hit enter, you put in your super secret password, let it do its thing, hit yes, let it download and install real quick. And now, if you ever need to update, all you gotta do is sudo Nala update. You're replacing apt with Nala as your front end, so you're still using apt, but you're using Nala to make it faster. So you'll go ahead and hit update. You'll see how it changes the way it looks, and that'll go ahead and refresh your repos. Do the same thing, but do upgrade instead this time. And then what you will do is wait for it, go ahead and hit yes, and let it do its updates. So this isn't going to take very long for me because this is just a new install, right? Shouldn't take too long for you either. But after this, all we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go back to the other version, and I will see you and give you the little bit of behind the scenes or a little bit more information here in just a second. Again, I wanted to say congratulations. You have now installed Linux for the first time. See, it's not too bad. Downloading and installing doesn't take very long. It's not a difficult process. But now, what you need to do is join our Discord. We'll help you out. We'll teach you the little layout of the land, for lack of better words, and we'll get you going. Now, if you don't mind, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. If you'll go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe, like I mentioned before. Go ahead and join the channel if you got a lot out of this video, or if you want to see more content from us. Again, that's only about 7 cents a day total, with it being $1.99 a month. If you'll go ahead and please share this video if you got a lot of value out of it, if you can't join us. But last but not least, thank you for joining us for today's episode, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.